It's 3 a.m. again. The world is silent and your mind is the loudest thing in the room. You stare at the ceiling, wondering why everything that felt clear during the day now feels uncertain. Dreams turn into questions. Questions turn into storms. And somewhere between, "I'll sleep soon," and "What am I doing with my life?" you realize this hour has a strange power. That's the 3 a.m. rule. It's the moment life removes all noise so you can finally hear yourself. At 3 a.m., your brain slows down just enough to be honest. There are no notifications, no applause, no distractions, just truth. James Clear once wrote in Atomic Habits, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." At 3 a.m., that line hits harder, because in silence you realize goals are just ideas. Systems are who you really are. You start to see the habits you repeat when no one's watching, the shortcuts you take, the excuses you make. It's not punishment, it's perspective. The 3 a.m. rule reminds you that change begins where excuses end. Most people run from stillness because it forces them to face themselves. Marcus Aurelius said in Meditations, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." That's what 3 a.m. does. It locks you inside your own soul until you start listening. You start replaying moments. The conversation you regret, the dream you postponed, the person you miss but won't message. And in that reflection, you meet truth, raw, uncomfortable, healing truth. It whispers, "You already know what you need to do. You're just scared to start." Restlessness isn't a curse, it's an invitation. At 3 a.m., when your chest feels heavy, it's not anxiety. It's unused potential knocking on your ribs. Viktor E. Frankl wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." That's the essence of the 3 a.m. rule. You can't control when clarity comes, but you can choose what you do with it. Every sleepless night is an alarm clock for your soul. It's life saying, "Wake up, not from sleep, but from routine." You don't need all the answers tonight. You just need honesty. Overthinking is your mind trying to protect you from pain, but healing starts when you let the thought finish. Sit with it. Listen. Write. Ryan Holiday wrote in, "The obstacle is the way. Greater than, the obstacle in the path becomes the path." Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. So when thoughts spiral at 3 a.m., don't fight them. Follow them. Because hidden beneath the overthinking is a version of you begging to evolve. The 3 a.m. rule isn't about staying awake, it's about waking up. Waking up to your patterns, your fears, your purpose. You realize you've been waiting for motivation when what you really needed was accountability. You've been chasing peace when you needed discipline. You've been praying for signs when God already gave you silence. And silence is louder than signs. Atomic Habits also says, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become." At 3 a.m., you see every vote you've cast, for growth or for comfort, and suddenly you want to start voting differently. Here's the truth no one tells you. The person you are at 3 a.m. and the person you are at 9 a.m. are rarely the same. At 3 a.m., you promise to change. At 9 a.m., you forget. The 3 a.m. rule says, don't let your morning self betray your midnight honesty. Take one thought from the night and turn it into one action in the day. Write the message, apply for the job, start the workout, apologize, begin. Because the gap between reflection and action is where dreams go to die. Sometimes the reason you can't sleep isn't because you're lost. It's because you're misaligned. You're trying to live a life that looks good instead of one that feels right. The philosopher Seneca wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." 3 a.m. is the moment you realize which port is truly yours. It's when you stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. There's a kind of faith that only appears in the dark, when you can't see 10 steps ahead, but still keep walking. Maybe that's why the universe wakes certain people at 3 a.m., because that's the only time they're quiet enough to hear it, as Paulo Coelho wrote in The Alchemist. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it, but the universe can't help a distracted mind. That's why silence is sacred. That's why 3 a.m. exists, so you can realign before sunrise. Growth doesn't happen in front of crowds. It happens when you're awake while the world sleeps. Rebuilding yourself quietly. The 3 a.m. rule teaches patience. Transformation doesn't announce itself. It whispers, it hurts, it repeats. So when you're lying awake tonight, remember, you're not behind, you're becoming. Eventually, dawn arrives, the questions fade, the world returns, and you get up, a little different. You won't tell anyone what you realized. You don't need to. The 3 a.m. rule isn't about telling the world. It's about finally telling the truth to yourself. Because that's how change starts. Not with noise, but with silence. Not with a crowd, but with a conversation between you and your soul. So the next time your eyes open at 3 a.m., don't curse the sleeplessness. Listen, maybe it's your future self whispering, "You're closer than you think." Keep going.